heaven, Mac.
At this point, it's no secret that Shadow the Hedgehog will be in the Sonic movie 3, and playing a prominent role at that. Sort of like how Knuckles was in the Sonic movie 2, but I argue that he would probably get a little bit more spotlight considering just how prominent this character is. I mean, he's got one of the most convoluted backstories in the entirety of the franchise, so there's a lot they can dive into. Keeping in mind that Shadow the Hedgehog is a really deep character and has a deep backstory as well, it's likely that this movie will only scratch the surface of what this character is supposed to be. And honestly, I don't mind that. Shadow the Hedgehog is one of my favorite characters, if not my favorite character in the entirety of this franchise, and I would really hate to see them somehow mess it up by trying to shove too much content in one film. Because I mean, this movie can only be so long, and if it plans to go the SA2 route, then you've got a ton of stuff to go over already. So maybe not shoving all of Shadow the Hedgehog's backstory in this one movie is a good idea. So I feel like to ultimately solve the problem of not really fleshing out Shadow's character to its maximum potential, I feel like the only solution here is to either make a spin-off movie or perhaps even a TV show. Personally, I prefer movies, so I decided to come up with a couple ideas of what a potential Shadow the Hedgehog spin-off movie could possibly be like. However, before we get into the video, don't forget to leave a like and subscribe on it if you enjoyed it and want to see more content like this from me in the future. It goes a super long way and I would really appreciate it. Anyway, I came up with two plot ideas for a potential Shadow the Hedgehog spin-off movie, of which I'm going to go over in today's video. The first one I want to talk about really goes into the characterization of Shadow the Hedgehog currently after the events of the Sonic movie 3. Now, obviously, I don't know how this movie is going to end, but I'm hoping it ends in such a way that would allow Shadow to kind of live on Earth in peace. That said, I don't believe he should be living with Sonic or anyone else for that matter. I feel like Shadow should be a character who's truly just trying to find out who he's supposed to be, and by the end of that movie, he will become the character he wants to be, or the character that we currently see him as, or did see him as, whichever you prefer. This movie can kind of be like Shadow the Hedgehog making amends to the people that he may have caused problems for, and doing exactly what Maria would have wanted, helping and protecting the people of Earth. If the Sonic movie 3 intends to go in the exact same direction as Sonic Adventure 2, then Shadow is going to be causing all sorts of conflicts for Sonic the Hedgehog and just the regular everyday people of Earth in general. So it'd be really cool to see Shadow kind of right the wrongs he previously made and maybe become a well-accepted member in society in his own way. That said, I feel like by the end of the movie, his true badge of honor will be him becoming a gun member, or perhaps even a gun commander. With that in mind, I feel like there are a couple characters that could play a pivotal role in this movie, such as the gun commander that we saw in the Sonic movie 2, and also in the Sonic movie 1 as well, and perhaps Randall, who also made an appearance in the Sonic movie 2 as well. Considering that he was, and probably still is, a secret agent, it's likely that him and Shadow would definitely have some sort of connection going on. And of course, there are other characters from the Sonic the Hedgehog franchise that would probably make their first appearance in this movie, if not in the Sonic movie 3, like Rouge and Omega. Now, I don't know if both of them will make an appearance in Sonic movie 3, but if they don't, I feel like it'd be perfect to have them here, if this is going to be their first appearance. I mean, this seems like it would be a perfect opportunity to introduce these characters, considering that they're really important for Shadow the Hedgehog, as he is a member of Team Dark, and this is his team. They can probably be introduced as Shadow goes on that journey of self-discovery that we talked about earlier, and truly finding out who he's supposed to be and why he was created in the first place. That said, I feel like the antagonist for this movie is kind of easy. I think it should be Black Doom, who is the main antagonist in the game Shadow the Hedgehog. This movie can also start off kind of similar to how the Shadow the Hedgehog video game started off as well, where Shadow is just kind of wondering who he's supposed to be, and then suddenly Black Doom shows up and tries to offer a bit of guidance. Now, obviously, this is going to be like an hour 30, hour 40-minute movie going on here, so there's definitely no way we can go into each little detail of how this game went and going into all sorts of different paths that Shadow could take, because there's no time for that. But I feel like it would be really great to showcase how Black Doom was trying to misguide Shadow and lead him down a path of destruction. Maybe perhaps Shadow is actually led by Black Doom and actually believes everything he's trying to say up until the very end of the movie, where he realizes that this guy is spewing a lot of nonsense that I actually really don't agree with. Then he turns on him and actually goes up against him towards the end of the movie and is able to save the entire planet. This can end up creating the Team Dark team that we see as today, with Rouge, Omega, and Shadow all joining GUN. I mean, the commander even says in the Sonic movie 2, after the events in San Francisco, a global task force was created, devoted to protecting our planet from alien threats. And in this context, he speaks of the Guardian Units of Nations, or GUN. In the end, I feel like this movie would be great to showcase the characterization of Shadow the Hedgehog and make him more into the character that we see today. It kind of grows this character, and we're able to get a less complicated version of the game Shadow the Hedgehog on the big screen. So who would be opposed to that? Also, it is worth noting that Tim Miller and Jeff Fowler, two people who worked very hard on the Sonic movie 1 and 2, worked also on the Shadow the Hedgehog game on the CG movie production, as they're also in the credits for the game as well. Ideally, this is the movie that I would create if given the option to make a Shadow the Hedgehog movie or put in the position in the first place. This is the direction I would go in. But there is another idea I did have, but I'm not totally on board with it. It's kind of a work in progress, if you will. I was thinking that maybe a movie about Shadow the Hedgehog's time on the Space Colony arc could also be a pretty interesting idea, since we really don't have that much history behind Shadow the Hedgehog's creation, as well as his time on the arc with Maria and Professor Gerald Robotnik. It's kind of like a gray area in the franchise. And I feel like if there were a movie to go over this kind of material, it could be a Shadow the Hedgehog movie to do the job. One of the biggest reasons why I'm so intrigued with this idea is because we do have official art of what Shadow's time on the arc was like, where he's with Maria in a classroom and also just looking at space and doing all kinds of things. But I feel like even with this art, every time I look at it, I'm always asking, what more is there to this? Is there any more story that we just don't know about that would actually be really interesting to know? And I feel like with that question in mind, it'd be really cool to see this happen in some type of movie or a comic or something along those lines, which is why I think it'd be a really cool idea if there was a Shadow the Hedgehog spin-off movie to have this question answered. What happened on the Space Colony arc throughout the time that Shadow was there? This was honestly my first idea of a Shadow the Hedgehog spin-off movie, but as I began to think it through more and more, I began to see there was a lot of problems with this movie idea, because the one thing I kept running into was I could not think of a conflict for the life of me. I couldn't think of any person who would be antagonizing these individuals on the Space Colony arc constantly that would actually be entertaining. And considering the fact that Shadow and Maria are on the arc 24/7, there would really be no change of location. You'd be in the same spot the entire movie. So, as much as I would like to see that, I don't know how well that movie would do, and if it's really necessarily a good idea. Nonetheless, I felt the need to kind of vocalize these thoughts because this is something that I still very much want to see. I would love to know more about the history of Shadow the Hedgehog's life on the Space Colony arc and kind of compare that to how he lives now. That said, those were my two ideas for a potential Shadow the Hedgehog spin-off movie, and I now want to hear yours in the comment section down below. If we ever got a Shadow the Hedgehog spin-off movie, what do you want it to be like? Also, while you're commenting your thoughts, don't forget to leave a like and subscribe on the video if you enjoyed it and want to see more content like this in the future, because your boy will provide. That said, I want to take the time to shout out my legendary channel members. Thank you all so very much for supporting me and my channel and creating the best possible content that I can create. Videos like these and many more, of course, would not be possible without you. I praise the Lord for y'all every single day. Y'all are truly the best. If you are at all interested in becoming a member of my channel, there'll be a link in the description down below. But if you want to support me through other means, I have a merch store, and you guys can check out all sorts of SONICSTA swag, whether it be hoodies, hats, t-shirts, you name it, we got it. The link will be in the description for that as well. But anyway, y'all, thank you so much for checking out my channel and watching the video. Have a super blessed day.
Why are you playing that trash?